The Vice President Kamala Harris has decided to blow off RFK Jr.'s request for a meeting. Put it up for a mask. Here we go. So per Washington Post, the candidate campaign officials of state independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sought a meeting last week with Democratic nominee Kamala Harris to discuss. Now, here's the thing, possibly serving in the administration, okay? Possibly serving in the administration. The context of the meeting wasn't about policy, it was about a job. And so perhaps, according to the report, as a cabinet secretary was the desire of Kennedy. If he supports her campaign and she wins. However, Harris and her team have not shown interest or responded to the request according to sources familiar with the matter. Kennedy's outreach to Harris follows a recent meeting with Donald Trump in Milwaukee last month, where they discussed a similar policy role and endorsement. In those discussions, Kennedy sought an advisory role in health and medical issues. However, no agreement was reached. The independent candidate and namesake of the most famous American political dynasty is exploring multiple options for the future of his presidential effort, which has seen a decline in national polling since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. His campaign has produced polling, which it has tried to share with Democrats, that it claims shows both Harris and Trump would get a boost in their public support across 31 states if either candidate announced publicly that Kennedy would have a cabinet role in their administration. At the moment, Kennedy says he is continuing to campaign with the expectation that he will defeat both Trump and Harris, making regular interview appearances, releasing an American Strong plan for bipartisan governance, and planning upcoming rallies in states such as Arizona and Nebraska. But he has also left open the possibility of bowing out of the race if he finds another way to bring about the change he seeks in the country, his advisors say. Quote, from the beginning of this campaign, we were saying people should be talking to each other, Kennedy said Wednesday in an interview. That is the only way of unifying the country. Kennedy said he hopes Harris reconsiders his offer of a meeting. Quote, I think it is a strategic mistake for them. That's my perspective, Kennedy said. I think they ought to be looking at every opportunity. I think it is going to be a very close race, end quote. After Kennedy and his campaign confirmed the outreach to Harris to news organizations, on Thursday morning, he dismissed the idea of endorsing Harris in a lengthy social media post. Quote, VP Harris's Democratic Party would be unrecognizable to my father and uncle, and I cannot reconcile it with my values, he wrote, referring to former President John F. Kennedy and former New York Senator Robert F. Kennedy. I have no plans to endorse Kamala Harris for president. I do have a plan to defeat her. No word on Trump. The latest round of outreach follows earlier efforts to convince Democrats that Kennedy would make a better candidate on their ticket than Biden. Even after Kennedy left the Democratic nomination fight to pursue an independent campaign for president last November, his advisors continue to press the case privately that he could replace Biden as the Democratic nominee. All right, so on Fox Kennedy, the campaign manager and daughter-in-law of the candidate, argued in an April email to Democrats obtained by the Washington Post that Biden could not win the race. Quote, as things are, Biden is going to lose. If Bobby were to drop out, Trump would win by an additional 2 states. She wrote, if Biden were to drop out, Trump would lose. Only Bobby can win this. She argued that Democrats had to make sure a president is elected who can handle the responsibility of managing the nuclear arsenal. Quote, I don't want a president obsessed with the size of his crowds to be given the sacred charge. My bomb is bigger than your bomb. There's no path to peace, she wrote. Nor do I want to entrust my children's lives to the alertness of a president who, despite honorable service and due to the natural toll of age, I wouldn't leave babysitting my 2-year-old while I went to the movies. Democrats have for months attacked Kennedy because Timothy Mellon, of a Pittsburgh banking family, Sion of a Pittsburgh banking family, is a top donor to both an independent group supporting Kennedy and a separate group supporting Donald Trump. The connection is strange for people. Quote, no one has any intention of negotiating with MAGA-funded fringe candidate who has sought out a job with Donald Trump in exchange for an endorsement, said Liz Smith, an advisor for the Democratic National Committee. You know, it just seems kind of classless, you know? If you're going to campaign on some issues, which I actually agree with some of the issues, not all of them, and I think he's made some boneheaded statements during the campaign as well that we've had to call out here in Indisputable. But with all that aside, all of them have made a boneheaded statement or two in their political careers. But to go to both campaigns in order to leverage a job rather than talk exacting policy is probably the reason you're not getting the invite or the agreement to have that particular meeting. I don't know, Sharon. I just thought the brother was better than that, and so it looks like the campaign has confirmed. Yeah, that was basically what he was going to talk about. What say you?
He can't be trusted. He has some. He lacks discipline in his behaviors. Some of it unhinged, and there's no reason to sit down with him. Apparently, he lacks integrity, and you should not give him any position. Though there may be one open in Central Park helping to protect the wildlife. Maybe that's better suited for him.